पर्याय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरि गुरु महाराज की जय। नमस्ते, वणक्कम, स्वागतम. A very good morning from this part of the world. I have all my crows cawing away. Yesterday we had Mr. Peacock visit us. Mayurji visited us yesterday. And there's a light, cool breeze this morning at Pondicherry. And as I say it, an even cooler breeze is coming on my side. A very wonderful morning to continue our Saturday morning get-togethers. And I was thinking what to do today. And then suddenly a beautiful question from my dear Muggs in Canada came up. Muggs, who grew up with the blessings of a guru in her own guru, Hari. And Hari, who was in contact with all the great masters. And Muggs came up with an amazing book that is having all the letters that these grand masters of yoga, true yogis, wrote to Hari and the teachings that were shared. A very beautiful book. I highly recommend Letters from the Masters that Muggs has compiled, and I think one of the highlights of my teaching abroad in the past decade has been my teaching at Soya with more than 110 people in attendance that weekend, and what a magnificent. So Muggs has asked me, and this she has asked a few times, and then last week I was mentioning something and she said, which video is it in? And well, that is the Vedic Surya Namaskar. And then I realized I have not put it in the Vedic Surya Namaskar in any video. And I thought 108 days of teaching non-stop, sharing rather. And I'm so happy that has inspired many of you to keep going. And I know many of you are doing amazing sessions on a regular basis during this lockdown and the sort of, we are not sure, are we still in lockdown? Are we post-lockdown? Or are we already knocked down and knocked out? Well, hopefully not knocked out yet. You may be down, but don't be out, okay? Get up. That is the message Ammaji reminds us all the time. 99 times down, 100 times up. And that is what resilience is all about. And yes, 79 sessions, well, in Edmonton. I just love this fact. And that so many of you have taken it up. I know many of you have taken up sessions on sharing is caring. It means so much to me. When I do something that you feel can be continued in your way, and it's like a relay race where we are just passing the baton from one to the other and continuing it. Coming back to the topic. Vedic Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar, as I have said in the last few sessions, is an expression of our gratitude. Our gratitude to the universe in which we live. To be born human is a great fortune. To manifest humanity is our responsibility. And the sun is such a visible symbol of divinity, of the universal energy. It is just amazing, I tell you. It is so amazing because you get up in the morning, there's this beautiful sun coming over the Bay of Bengal, reassuring you that all is well in the world because the sun has come up. The sun having 12 qualities that are manifest through the 12 names, the Nama. And over the next few days in our Mantra Yoga Sadhana, I hope that we'll also come into those 12 mantras. They are part of our syllabus for that Mantra Yoga Sadhana course, where we chant Om Mitraya Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Bhanabhe Namaha. Om Kagaya Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Om Arichaye Namaha. Om Adityaye Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaya Namaha. Om Bhaskara Namaha. Om. 12 beautiful qualities of the sun. That source of energy, that source of life, light and life. Even modern science understands that the origin of life is attributed to an important contribution played by the sun, energy of the sun with various chemical molecules that may have been the start of life. The sun is involved with so many processes, and we are a solar being that is in a solar system. Our Manipura chakra, our Nabi, the Samana Vayu, the Agni Mandala, is connected to the sun, and we need to recharge ourselves. When we do the Surya Namaskar, it is our way of expressing gratitude to this great manifestation of divinity. It is not just a keep fit exercise, it is not just a warming up exercise, as many people think in the modern times. The ancient Vedic culture has the concept of reverence for life and the expression of gratitude through prarthana, that is loosely translated as prayer in English. Pratyaya is where the mind is getting focused, and prarthana is a deep focus of the mind towards a higher aspirational aspect of the universe that you want to manifest through you, so that you become that. You become the sun. The sun is the guru. The sun is the energy of the guru, the grand teacher. And Lord Hanuman, Jai Bajrang Bali, who in his heart had Jai Siya Ram, he learns from the sun god, Surya Bhagavan. Such amazing, beautiful concepts are there. And the Vedic culture was based on a worship of nature. The worship of nature is so important, because when you revere something, when you worship it, when you have gratitude to it, you will take care of it. So important that we take care of that which we value, because if you don't take care, you will lose it. If you value something, take care. You have to take care of that which you value so you don't lose it. Otherwise, you lose it and then you feel bad. You cry over spilt milk. Spilt milk is only good for cats, and of course our dogs, who can then drink it. It's not useful to us, hopefully. In the Gitananda tradition, the Vedic concept of solar obeisance, the reverence and the gratitude to the solar entity, energy, was expressed in a physical practice that has 3 components. So the Vedic Surya Namaskar that we are going to do today has 3 components. Now, the number 3 is a number of manifestation. The 3 is the number of the Manipura chakra. The 3 is the number that has a full cycle, a circle. 1 is just the starting point. 2 is going from the starting point someplace, but you have not come back to your starting point. The moment you have 3, you have a triangle, and a triangle always comes back to the starting point. And that is why the 3 is the first cycle that we find in nature. And what is the sun? circular. That is why the Surya Namaskar practice has to be circular. I always ask the kids at Yoganjali, and I hope in September we can start some live sessions for the kids again, now that Government of India has permitted yoga institutes to start teaching again. They don't know what we do with kids, so I said let's wait till a bit more, because we cannot have your hundreds of kids together anymore. So let's see how we can do it. But I tell my kids, I say, what is the shape of the Surya Namaskar? Each asana has a shape, a mandala. And the shape, the mandala of the Surya Namaskar is a circle, just like the sun. And that is why it is a circular practice. You start in one position, you go through a full-fledged movement, and you come back to the starting position. That is the way we end the Surya Namaskar. We start and we end in the same place, so that you have that symbolism of the circle. So the first component of the Surya Namaskar is related to their Vyahartis. The Vyahartis, which are the Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Ogum Satyam. The 7 higher lokas, these expressed as Om Bhu Bhuva Swa. That concept, what we do is that we bring it into a 3-part breathing. 3-part breathing, which is the Vibhaga Pranayama, again of the Gitananda tradition. And that is why the Vedic Surya Namaskar, the Vibhaga Pranayama, the Hatenas, and the Kaya Kriya, they are practices that have a very similar energy movement, and they go together very well. We breathe into the low, we breathe into the mid, and we breathe into the upper part. Adama, Madhyama, Adhyama. And this is brought into the concept of the Bhu being the earthly plane, Bhuva the interstitial, and Swa the higher plane of the heavenly plane. So what we do is that the first component has us breathing into the low, then the mid, and then the upper, and then a complete breathing as we reach up and we express our aspiration through reaching up into the highest consciousness. So the first part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar is a very slow movement in tune with the breathing, and I am going to demonstrate it as we go through it now. So when we do this practice, what we are going to be doing is we are standing and we are going to be keeping the hands by the side, okay? Remember, the hands are connected to the heart? Fine. So what we are doing is that as we breathe in into the low chest, Adama Pranayama, you open your hands up like this. So your palms are facing the sun. The palms are getting the energy of the sun. As you breathe out, slowly bringing the hands back, okay? This is the first part. So the movement is breathe in as you stretch out, open up, breathe out as you close. And we do this 3 times. Then the second part, this is the Bhu part, the earth part. Remember the earth and the pelvis, the lower part? Then the Bhuva, the interstitial, the space in between. Antariksham, as we talk about. So breathing in low, now breathing in mid. Okay? Then again breathing out, breathing out. So this is the second movement, is the lower and the middle, and then breathing out as you come back down. So we do this 3 times. Then the third component, where you do the low, the mid, and the high. Again breathing out, and breathing out. So here we have the third part. Remember, the first part was only the hands going out and back. The second is the hands going out and coming to the heart center. The third is the hands going out, coming to the heart center and reaching up, and then coming back down. So you have the 3 movements. And then you put it all together in that Mahat Yoga Pranayama as you now go up. Now you have to go onto your toes, okay? So breathing in, and stretching up onto your toes as high as possible. Breathing out, toes down, hands coming back down, and back to the starting point. Okay, so the first movement then the second movement, then the third movement, and then the fourth movement where you have stretched up a gesture of aspiration. All of this is done facing the sun, so that the whole solar energy is hitting the front of your body. Purva is the east. This is the part of the body called Purva. The back is called Paschima, the west. Purva is the east. Okay. And then after that, what you do is the final movement is where you have that symbolic, that grand opening of the sun. So you breathe in, you stretch, come back down to the toes, and then back bending as you breathe out, making a giant circle representing the sun as you come back to the start. Okay? So I just want to make sure that you have all got this idea. Fine? So here, what we are doing is that this is the first part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar. The Vedic Surya Namaskar is based on very simple movements that in the Vedic literature, in the Vedic culture, that in the morning the person would go and most probably stand in the water or facing the sun. It was expected that we got up before the sun came up and that we were there to welcome the sun with the reverential aspect of these movements. So they were simple movements. This is not a dynamic jumping all around. This is a very stable movement utilizing the low, mid and upper parts of the lungs. Adama, Madhyama, Adhyama. And in this what you are doing is you are bringing together the three sections of the lungs. When you bring together the three sections of the lungs, you are breathing into you are energizing the lower, middle and upper parts of the body. And when you do that, you are working on the Stula, Sukshma and Karana aspects of your existence, the gross, subtle and causal. All of this is happening just in the first part of the Surya Namaskar. So here there is this concept of the Vyahartis, the Om, Bhu, Bhuva, Swa. They are coming alive in your physical movement with your breathing. So it's not just a chanting, Om, Bhu, Om, Bhuvaha, Om Swaha. That is the chanting part. How does it become part of your body? Where your body is now becoming part of the prayer. It is not lip service, but the whole body, the mind, the soul, everything is connecting together as you connect with the solar energy. So the first part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar is this. The second part is where we start to connect to the earth. It is the grounding part. So we have connected to the sky. We have connected up to the cosmos. When you raise your hands into the Anjali Mudra like this, you are connecting to all the Anda Chakras, Anda Characharam, we say. Anda Characharam. That in that cosmos where there is the Chara Achara, that which moves and that which doesn't move. That cosmos made up of the moving and the immoving, you are connecting up there. A gesture of aspiration. That is why you will find people when they go into temples here in South India, they will be going into the temple like this. They will lie down like this. The beautiful statues of all our great Nayanmars, hands up like this. The great Rishis, the hands up like this. The Anjali, connecting to the cosmos. So the first part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar is you are connecting with the cosmos. But then if you connect to the cosmos and you are disconnected to where you are going to be considered a bit mad. Nothing wrong in being considered mad in a world that is already mad. I think it was Jiddu Krishnamurti who said trying to be adjusted to a maladjusted society, being well adjusted to a maladjusted society is not really healthy. But anyway, being mad is not an issue. Nothing wrong with that. Let people think what they want. You be what you are. Don't decide who you are based on what others say or think. You are what you are, be the best you. You are connecting. But what you need to do is you need to ground. So just as the tallest buildings require that protector, a grounding wire, lightning breaker, we also need it. So what do? We come down and we ground ourselves with the earth, Mother Earth. So the second part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar is, it starts off where the first part ended. So the first part had done this, and you had come with the grand circle. Now from here, what you do is that you make the same movement, breathing in, stretching up, going onto the toes, but now you start to come down into the Ardha Utkatasana. Okay, the half squat. Again, breathing in, going up. The second component is where you come into the full squat. Then again, breathing in, stretching up, onto the toes. And as you breathe out, the third moment is you come down, place your hands on the ground. This is called Bhumi Sparsha. You are touching the earth. So here, the second part of this Vedic Surya Namaskar is connecting the cosmos with where we are. The highest of the Viharatis. What is the highest Viharati? The highest Viharati is Satya Loka. You are connecting that with the Bhu, with the earth. Okay, so here, just to revise this, if we were doing it, we would be breathing in, stretching out. As you breathe out, coming into the Ardha Utkatasana. Again, breathing in, going to the toes. The second time would again be Ardha Utkatasana. Okay? I'm just doing it twice now. We are going to do it 3 later. Then coming down, the second movement is to the full Utkatasana. Again, breathing in. Breathing out. Remember, lift on the in-breath. Let the breath lift you. Then the third movement, breathing in. Onto the toes. And now coming down as you breathe out. And hands on the ground. Okay? So here, in the second part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar, what we are doing is we are connecting. We are connecting the cosmos with where we are. We are connecting the highest that we are aspiring for, the Adi, with the lowest where we are, our base level. We are grounding ourselves. So the first part was a gesture of aspiration for the highest through those 7 planes of consciousness, Bhu, Bhuva, Swa, Maha, Jana, Tapa and Satyam. Then we are connecting to the ground. Then comes the third component. The third component is where we are expressing our gratitude, our love towards the living beings on this planet, the non-living entities, and the great human beings who have manifested on this planet, who have been courageous and led the life with great heart. So how do we do that? From the Utkatasana, we jump back into the Kokilasana. Kokila represents the cuckoo. Ooh. Sometimes we get a nice quail here. It's all the crows chase them away. Crows and cuckoos look the same. Huh? The cuckoo is the bird that sings. Yesterday we had Mr. Peacock visit us, and Peacock looks so beautiful and then goes, honk. And we were like, Divya was like, what is that noise? That's the peacock. Honk. Sounded more like a goose. Honk. 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 That's what the peacock was doing. Don't sing like a peacock. Fly like a peacock, dance like a peacock, sing like a cuckoo. Huh? Again, see, nature is wonderful. A cuckoo doesn't dance. Nobody will watch a cuckoo dance, but a cuckoo sings. Nobody wants to hear a peacock sing, but they want to watch a peacock dance. Huh? There's beautiful combination in nature. Huh? It is only us human beings who mess things up. It's okay. Fine. So coming back. The cuckoo representing all the living beings with the capacity to express. The second is the Meruvasana, the mountain pose, where we are expressing our gratitude to all the non-living aspects of the universe. Here this concept of chara achara, that which is moving, that which is not moving. Anda characharam, or as we have been seeing in the Guru Stotra, Akanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In that Charachara, that what is there in it, what is percolating in the living and the non-living, in the moving and the non-moving, in the beating and the not beating, what is happening? Well, that is what this is expressing. The third part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar is working on that. The cuckoo, the Kokilasana, representing the living. The Meruvasana, the non-living. And after expressing our gratitude towards the living and the non-living and connecting to them, we are then coming into the Virasana. The Virasana represents the human being who has the heart for the battle. The person who is capable of growing, again, for the heart region. It's a beautiful practice where we stand with the front knee bent, back knee stretched, and the hands up like this. This is a gesture of, I am ready for the battle. I am ready to face the challenges that are there. I have the heart for it. Like all the great people who have fought the battle for what is noble in the face of adversity. And with that, we then come back and we connect to the earth in the Utkatasana, and then slowly can come up to the standing. So the third part starts from where we were in the Utkatasana. We were in the Bhumi Sparsha. Okay? So from the Utkatasana, what we do is we jump back into the Kokilasana. Remember, in the Kokilasana, you are not touching the ground. There's a gap here. I'm not lying down. Okay? The Kokilasana is where you are on your toes and stretching up. Then the Meruvasana. Then the Virasana, bringing the one leg forward, bent knee, the back leg is straight and stretching up. Again, breathing out, going to Meruvasana. Now left leg forward, balancing right and left sides, right and left hemispheres of that great human being. And then we come back to the Hastapada and then the Utkatasana. So this is one cycle of the third part. Kokila, Meru, Vira on the right side, Meru, Vira on the left side, Hastapada, and back to the Utkatasana. Fine? So just to give you the concept and put the pieces together. First of all, Vedic Surya Namaskar having three parts. First part is the aspirational statement based on low, mid and upper chest breathing. Moving the hands appropriately, ending with a grand circle. Second part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar, connecting the cosmos, the macrocosm with the microcosm, the highest with the lowest. Giving us a concept that we are balancing ourselves and grounding ourselves. In the spiritual life, very important to be grounded. Otherwise, many people they think, I don't know what they get stuck in what Patanjali calls Bhranti Darshana, illusion that you have already made it. Lot of that out there. It's very easy to get deluded into thinking that you are already enlightened when you're not. Lot of that. So what is important is to be grounded. We need to ground ourselves. That is why a living tradition is important. Yesterday I shared an article and someone was wondering about it, and a lot of people, I expect a lot of positive and negative stuff to come from it. In fact, it will come as an editorial in the next Yoga Vani, which is the monthly journal of our Indian Yoga Association, and I expect a lot of feedback, positive and negative. But one very important thing to understand is a connection to a living tradition, a lineage is important for grounding. Otherwise, what happens is it's like you have taken the plant out of the soil in which it is living. And when we take that plant, we have disconnected it from the energy source. And most people are like that their sadhana is disconnected from the source. That is why it is very, very important. So the first part, we have done the aspirational statement. The second part is where we are grounding. Now, the second part requires that you bend your knees and come into the squat. So yes, well, I do understand for many people the squat may not be possible. So what I would suggest is that if the person can do such a thing that will enable them, it would be ideal if the hands can be on the ground. And if the person needs a cushion or they need something, it is fine. But the idea is you want the hands to come and connect with the ground. The hands, our hands are so disconnected from the ground. We are constantly doing everything with our hands except grounding them. That is why I think for many people going out in the garden is so refreshing, because they are grounding themselves. When you work with earth, you are grounding yourself. And this was one of my father's great love, was gardening. Somehow that's one gene I think didn't get through to me. Somehow I haven't had that. We need to ground. So getting your hands down to the ground in some form is very important when we come down. So there's this concept of reaching to the sky, but at the same time you are firmly grounding yourself. So the modifications can be done with pillows or with, a small stool or something to help the person if they have issues with the pelvis and the knees. But it is very important that the hands are brought to the ground. This is the connection of the grounding. Then the third one is this, bringing in the living and the non-living. The living and the non-living, the chara achara, are the ones that we want to then bring in at that point. And again, there you may have to modify a bit depending on people's physical capabilities. So the Kokilasana or the Mayurasana or the stretching forward, I think little bit of modification is okay if people have issues. But the thing is, it shouldn't modify so much that it becomes a mutation. One of the dangers in modern yoga teaching is, in the name of modification, we have actually started to mutate the practices. So it should at least be based on the concept. The concept is Kokilasana. You are in that asana that represents the living beings. Mayurasana, the non-living. And Virasana, that human with the great courage. I think we need to bring that together. So let's do a full cycle of this and see where we can go. Making sure that you are well balanced on your right and left sides in the Samasthiti. 50% weight on the right and left and slightly forward. 55 to 60% forward. So you are balanced but alert, hands by the side, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing out. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first of the movements we are doing now. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And a third time. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the second part, coming up to the chest. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the third part. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now bringing it all together as you go onto your toes this time. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the last of this part. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5. And one last time. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at the end of the first part of this Vedic Surya Namaskar, relaxing a few seconds with your hands by the side, letting the beautiful energy of the morning light seep into you, energizing you completely, you connecting with that beautiful solar energy. The solar being connecting with the solar system, the solar energy. Now to go into the second part. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The second part. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4. And now 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This completes the second part of the Vedic Surya Namaskar. Then, to come into the third part, you start from where you are in the squat. Okay? Or a modified squat depending on, what you can do, you may need some props, you may need some pillows if there are issues, but as close to the original as possible. So hands by the side on the ground. Breathing in, blasting out. Breathing in, Virabhadrasana. Breathing out. Breathing in, stretching forward in the Virabhadrasana. Breathing out, Virabhadrasana. Breathing in, left side Virabhadrasana. Breathing out, Hastapada. Breathing in and breathing out. This is one round of the third part. Taking in a deep breath, in, blasting out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, right leg forward, Virabhadrasana. Breathing out, Virabhadrasana. Breathing in, left leg forward. Breathing out, Padahasta. Breathing in, breathing out, Utkatasana. The third round, breathing in, out, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, Virabhadrasana. Breathing out, Virabhadrasana. Breathing in, left side, Virabhadrasana. Breathing out, Hastapada. Breathing in, breathing out, coming into the Utkatasana. And then relaxing a few seconds as you are breathing in, coming back to the standing, breathing out and relaxing. In the Vedic Surya Namaskar, you can actually also end at the Utkatasana because each is its own component. The first part is its own component, second is its own component, third is its own component. Very beautiful practice. A practice that is putting into the body concepts of the Gayatri Mantra. A very, very grounding practice. This is one of the Surya Namaskars. There are at least 6 or 7 variations we often teach here. They are described in my, well, it's not really my book, it's Swamiji's book. The Surya Namaskar book by Swamiji that I have redone. It is available from www.icyer.in, and for those in India, you can email me and I'll send you the details for how it can be purchased from within India, because the icyer.in is more geared for people abroad. We have described these practices, the traditional Rishikesh Surya Namaskar with the 12 steps, the Aruna with the 10, and then this Vedic, which is unique to Swamiji's tradition. It's part of the Yoga Step-by-Step correspondence course, where you have Ammaji demonstrating it and brings to life those beautiful concepts of the Gayatri Mantra, where we have the complete Gayatri with the Vihartis, the Gayatri itself, and then the Siras that is normally recited as Om Bhum Bhuva Om Swaha Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat Om Apo Jyoti Vasomritam Brahma Bhurvasuva Bharhum. A beautiful sense of all the three components coming together in a physical practice that actually is a very meditative practice. The third part sort of makes you a bit breathless if you are not used to doing it much, but very, very useful practice. So keep working on it, bring it into your own sadhana. And remember that the Surya Namaskar is not meant as a physical exercise. It is a very beautiful way for us to express our gratitude to the solar energy, that visible aspect of the universal divinity. And when we do it with that manobhava, when we do it with that attitude, with that in that mental state of being, is truly a yogic practice. When it is done in a vigorous manner, just as a warm-up, it is definitely more an exercise, not really so much yoga in that way, because yoga is so much about the attitude with which the practices are done. And that is why I have this issue that, always taking things apart, we take them into pieces. So we need to put the pieces back together, That is when peace manifests. Because when you are one, when you are wholesome, when every part of you comes together in that Purnam, there's no duality. If there's no duality, there's no dichotomy, there's no friction. And that is where you have that beautiful Sukhasthanam, a state of well-being, a state of ease. And may we all be blessed with that ease till we meet again. Have a wonderful time, whichever part of the world you are in. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste.